All right, and here we are back with the final release version, version 1.0 of Monastery, the work in progress map I've been working on for a while now. Um, so this is the final release, so it's a bit more than probably what you may have seen from the gray boxing video. But yeah, so here we are. One of the many spawn points here is on these columns. So this is the lobby that I showcased a bit before. A lot more fleshed out now. A lot more going on here. Um, this is the carpet before that was just a bit of a step without any textures, but now it's got the full carpet details. We have the big doorway that leads presumably outside, but like the first threshold of the manor here, and you're immediately greeted with these gigantic staircases. A big chandelier up here as kind of the centerpiece of this room, which provides a lot of lighting, and these two columns here as well that I included as a bit of a late design because there was just too much empty space I felt, and I guess not enough cover. So these can also provide a bit of an obstacle when you're in combat, as well as just something to fill out the room a little bit more. And there's some paintings as well here to kind of make it look more like a manor instead of just, you know, something without much detail. So we can go along here, and then under the stairs is something that I also changed as well. These used to just be kind of pillars like this before to support it, but I wanted a different design, so I kind of added these two-pronged with a torch sconce in between designs here. And then under the stairs is also you have, um, I guess this would be classified the best weapon on the map, the zapper that we have here. So a bit of a weapon out of the way that you have to go hunt for. But yeah, and you can also climb up the stairs, and we have a little bit of the guardrail and kind of overlooking into the foyer area here as well. Um, so something I do want to address right off the bat is that the weapon pickups are almost all complete. Well, I should say they're complete, but they're missing the rocket launcher. And this was a strategic design, actually. Like, I thought about this, and I figured I didn't want to use the rocket launcher. And the reason for that is because this map is fairly small compared to a lot of the other Quake maps. And a lot of the times I didn't like how other maps kind of devolved into you know, big, Easter egg hunt to find this rocket launcher and then just use that to blow everybody up. So I felt it kind of devolved the combat a little bit in the other map, so I didn't want to include it here. And I did a few rounds of playtesting to see how it was received by players, and they thought it was fine. They were either indifferent towards it or they thought that it was thematically suiting. So I figured to run with it and to not include the rocket launcher in the map. And I kind of like that more. I like the hit scan bit of combat going on too now. So that's why you will not see rocket launcher in the map. There is a grenade launcher still, but no rockets because it's a bit powerful. Anyway, moving on to some other rooms here. These are the kind of archways or doorways that is kind of a running theme. Um, I kind of made the stone trim suit with it here so that it kind of fits that theme of like the stone corridor type thing, or in this case up here as well, where it directly translates to another room. It's just a bit of an archway. And a couple things to note about this actually was in the beginning, this was much slimmer, and the player would basically just be able to slip through it, but now it's a lot larger to get through. So there's hopefully a bit more room, and you won't get hung up on the side of it here. And also, these little torch sconces also used to catch players. They would kind of run into them like this before and couldn't move. Um, and that was kind of hard in a firefight where you're trying to duck for cover. Let's say someone's firing at you from this rug over here, and you're trying to run at the door and you just get hung on this sconce on the wall. So what I did was I actually took these bits of geometry and I made them funk details. So now these are just codes. These are just scene of the engine as details, and you can run through them without any issues there. So hopefully that will help players kind of retreat a little bit better. Um, and here's the second room of the three main rooms we got here is the library. Bit of an armor pickup there. Um, this is probably I'd say the coziest room of the map. It's just a very simple, open-armed room for combat here. And we got all these books lining the wall to kind of fit the library aesthetic. We have these giant bookcases that kind of jut out and creates a bit of a maze. Nothing too crazy. I didn't want to frame it as like a full maze that players would get lost in, but just something a little bit out of the ordinary from just, you know, a basic square so that they can maneuver around and have some sort of firefights. Like for example, this one here that connects to this upper balcony area. You can kind of run around and play Ring Around the Rosie here if you're in a firefight, and some ramps also that will lead up to this second level as well. Um, Again, we have more torches here. So the torches were kind of like I guess the overall lighting scheme to help guide the players to find different points of entry, which is why you'll always see these torches lighting up the arches. Um, and there actually used to be a torch sconce here, but after widening these doorways, uh, had to be removed because it just wouldn't fit or it wouldn't look correct if it was too small. So yeah, that's kind of the main lighting theme that I was going for here. And then specific lighting can be found in this room here, and this is the church or like the worship district, I guess. This is where we're on stage now. You would maybe have some sort of sermon being delivered here. This is where all the demon worship takes place. This is I guess a bit of the lore of this map was this used to be just a general manor owned by like a wealthy group of people, but it was abandoned and now converted into a kind of demonic worship chamber here. So this is where people would speak out into it, just to kind of fit the theme. We have some pews over here, where the listeners would listen onto the speaker. Um, but something I had in mind for the lighting in this level, or in this room in particular, um, these kind of stained glass hold a lot of light coming from them, um, to kind of convey the sense of size, right? The player is automatically going to want to look towards the detail here, towards all these, stained glass portraits and whatnot. And this room is much taller than the others. So by forcing the player to kind of look up, um, if they're interested in the architecture, they'll immediately notice, oh wow, what's going on up here? It's very dark up here. And lights weren't placed up at the top in order to kind of convey that sense of size a bit more. I put a little bit up towards the top there, only so you could kind of see just how tall it stretches to. But the lighting up there is not super important. It's just kind of to denote where that ends, or where the geometry ends. So then players will like really get a feel for like how much bigger and how much taller this room is rather than the other rooms. And then you have, your standard kind of cathedral columns coming up here as well. And this is where I picked up the grenade launcher. It's found right here at this point. Um, so yeah, that's this room here. There was a bit of an issue before with this kind of like glow in the dark texture, um, on this floor for some reason. So I had to tweak a bit of lighting to kind of fix that. Hopefully it's a bit more subdued now. But yeah, other than that, this loops around back here towards the main hall, or the main foyer. And that's kind of where the level is for the version 1.0 release. Honestly, I had a lot of fun working on this, and if I continue to work on it more, I might actually press for a version 2 release or something in the future. I have a few more ideas of what I can do to expand this out. I was thinking maybe of adding an outdoor section with one door here and the other door here that kind of both branch out into like an outdoor, maybe a graveyard section. Um, but that's thinking out to the future. Right now, this is the version 1 release. I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and it was super fun to play on and super fun to play test with a group of people. So yeah, I hope this was insightful. I hope you think it's cool, and if you have any feedback, feel free to post a comment, and I may get around to fixing up something or responding. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody.